And look, interviewing has changed over the last, millennia, I guess. It used to be you wanted to come in and present yourself as like, I am perfect, I am seamless like an egg, which is my favorite quote from a candidate whose interview I killed when she said that. To admitting, hey, guess what? None of us is. All of us have flaws. That's fine. There's a book sitting on my desk out there that says, empathy is the new strength. And sensibility is, we have to be sensitive. We have to be empathetic. No one is perfect. This isn't the paramilitary organization where we all have to be on 100% of the time. We're allowed to be people. And because we're creatives, we're going to be more people-y than others at times. And that's what makes us who we are. And, I want people to be, vulnerable around me when I'm in an interview. If I can make an interviewer like share real emotion over something, and I've had interviews where the candidate just cried because they talked about something that was so important to them that they got emotional. That's the one I want. That's not weakness. That's ability. And that's if someone can get emotional talking about an animated character that they did, then that character has elevated itself up from character to bigger.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse is not a bunch of circles. Mickey Mouse is a personality. Now, there was a time on Stuart Little when the animators were arguing back and forth about what type of popcorn popper Stuart Little would use, whether he was a microwave or whether he was a traditional. And the minute I heard that, I thought, this movie's going to be good.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Because they're not talking about curves. They're talking about character traits. So that character has elevated itself above the mechanics of animation and now is a personality that they are pursuing.
One of the interesting things that now coming into I took an executive position, and one of the things that we've been talking about a lot is customer avatar, right? Because that's something that's always stuck with me is, again, it's more of a sales thing, but the more, whether it is defining characters when writing a story, anything that you can flesh out, you're giving so much more context to it. There's a story that I love. There's a guy in sales, Perry Belcher. He was pitching a soap product to Bed Bath & Beyond, and he was saying to this room of execs at Bed Bath & Beyond, this is the pitch and this is the product, and they kept saying that Jenny wouldn't like that. And he kept getting kind of frustrated. There's like this empty chair that they kept pointing to, saying, I don't think Jenny really thinks that way. She doesn't really, like that sort of product. And eventually got frustrated. He's like, look, if Jenny's the decision maker, then can we please get Jenny in the room? Because I realize like I'm wasting your time, speaking about this if you're not the decision maker. And that's when they all laughed and they were saying, well, Jenny is, our customer avatar. It's our, ultimately who we've validated and fleshed out as being our ideal customer. So I like the fact that they had a physical seat in their exec office, that they would always be looking at her and thinking of her, not themselves, because it doesn't matter what they want. It's about what aligns with their ideal customer, a 40-year-old woman, Jenny, whatever they'd fleshed out. But it plays the same role. The more that you can put depth into the characters that you design and you can think about them, the more that you can, really flesh them out and give them life versus just being a two-dimensional character.
Yeah, I mean, and you can look at a performance and feel the emotion coming off of it that the artists have put into it. Because, my favorite animated film is Bambi. Because it's such, it's a horror film for one thing. Why that was ever made for children is beyond me.
Saw that in the theaters.
Like mom dead 20 minutes in. Absentee father. But Bambi is never just a deer. It's not just, there's so much warmth in that. And that's what carries that performance out. And you can feel the animator's love in that performance.
Yeah.
And that's what separates it out. And kind of going back to the beginning, like how do mid to junior level artists land that role is they put that level of passion into their performances. Yes, the mechanics may be a little funky at times. There might be pops, but if that thing is conveying, that thing being the animated character, is conveying a relatable emotion that's causing an emotional response in me, as opposed to a perfectly drawn image that carries no emotional tangent to it at all, one's going to get the job and one's not.
Yeah.
Right. We want that emotional resonance, even if it's, like in gaming where your character is this high and it's at a locked camera and all of that, there's still opportunity for wit and humor and storytelling. And there's a Disney artist named Mark Davis who did many of the concept drawings for attractions at the park. And so he did Jungle Book, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. And Walt loved him because Mark was able to encapsulate an entire story in something that the ride mechanic, the vehicle, will buy in like 4 seconds.
Yeah.
And he could convey an entire story in like, oh, that's funny. The pirates sleep in with the pigs. He's like the pig. He's down to the pigs in the mud. He's so drunk. That's funny. Now that's what we're looking for in a reel. That's what we're looking for in a drawing. It's not just the mechanics of, oh yeah, they don't understand anatomy. That's fine. That's form. Now we're looking for, or that's function. We're looking for form. We're looking for that spice that gets added to it. You have to master your mechanics. You have to know how to draw. You have to know how to animate enough to convey that. And that's what's missing from 95% of students' reels is I did a walk cycle. Congratulations. In 1987, that would have got you a job. But it's not that anymore. You're going to have to show me something that's going to make me feel.
I literally just said that to a director yesterday who had made 7 different short films, and that was something that he had mentioned. A lot of people had said is that they watched one of his films, which was really amazing, called The Last Dance, and yeah, it was just like a lot of people contacted him saying that really made me feel something.
Who was that director? Was that Ryan Woodward?
No, it was Chris Keller. He's a VFX supervisor at DNAG.
I know the name.
Yeah. I only had a look at a few of his short films, but that one, it looked beautiful, but it had feeling, it had emotion to it. And to me, that is like the ultimate thing, especially in a short film. Like if you can really make someone feel something, then you've won. Like it's great to impress people technically with that's beautiful. And some of my best friends, they're directors and they're very successful. And I think the stuff they do is beautiful, whether it's them or their director of photography. But when it comes to memorable story or capturing an emotion, sometimes they fall short. And that ultimately, especially for animation, is something that, or even modeling, if you can draw a character, model a character, and have a look at them, you can instantly kind of feel for who they are, then again, you've won. In-game visual effects, which is one of the hardest roles for us to fill, is the marriage of that. It's that's smoke. It's not just, that's perfectly photoreal smoke. Now make it evil. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how to make it evil. Well, that's the trick now, isn't it? By color, by shape language, by timing, make that smoke evil. That'll get you the job. Just doing photoreal smoke, the computer's doing all your work. Yeah.
Right? Get in there and show me where your fingers have been in the clay. Is that happy fire? Is that evil fire? Is that elfin fire? Is that orc fire?
That's right.
I don't know. Well, then when come back and tell me and show me that you know what you're doing. It's that type of stuff. And I think there's this, when I did it myself, every sin that I talk about, students committing, I did myself. And 1,000 more.